Welcome back. Today we're starting on the wiring for Mr. Jones here. And what I've done so far is just laid out the factory wiring right here. And all these need to be shortened up. So we have a black wire for the alternator, also this little green wire for the alternator. The big green wire was for the air conditioning, so we're just going to delete that one. And this one here is for oil pressure sending unit. And then the violet is for temperature sensor or temperature switch. So we're going to shorten these things up. And then for the FiTech, we have our main wire and harness here. And then we have a couple of, this one here, we're not going to use it all, so it's just wrapped up. We have the O2 sensor one over there, so we're going to go ahead and plug. Yeah, big old plug, and it's way too long, so we have a new plug to be able to shorten that one up after it's all running. Want to make sure everything runs good and stuff before we start cutting wires on the FiTech in case it needs to be sent back for anything. We don't want to void our warranty. So the temperature sensor, you can see that's too long also. So I have a new plug for that. So we'll shorten that when we get to that point. But we're gonna go ahead and start working on these wires here. And then you can see here, we're gonna just incorporate them all together. I have some friction tape. Looks really nice for wrapping our wires up. So we'll make sure it's all nice and neat and cleaned up. But yep, we're gonna get started on this and we'll bring you back in a little bit. All right, so this is what we have so far. We went ahead and cut the wires for the oil sending unit and the AC. Those are not going to be used, but we wanted to leave them long enough to where if we are going to use them later on or somewhere down the road, then we still have them. So those are just going to be taped off and secured so they don't short anything out. The alternator wires are both cut shorter and fittings put on those, or connectors. And I'm not really happy with these connectors, so I'm going to find some that's more heavy duty, but they're going to work for now. The end for the
temperature sending unit.
Yeah, the temperature sending unit there, we decided to just cut here and connect it here with our heat shrink. And the reason being is we couldn't find another end like that didn't already have a pigtail, so we were going to end up with a pigtail anyway, so we just took the midsection out. Because what I'd really like to do is find the ends and install them to make them look factory without any splices or anything, but I did a little searching, I couldn't find one, so we just went ahead and did it that way. And this is an additional temp sensor anyways, because we have the one for the FiTech, so this one's still read on the dash, hopefully. Whoop, whoop, whoop. All right, so that's where we're at right now. We're gonna start getting the FiTech wired up, and we also have the cooling fan relay, and that's also triggered by the FiTech. So we'll get started on that stuff. So here on our FiTech on the driver's side, we have two pigtails here, and one you see has two wires. That's fuel pump, power, and then this is the main power for the FiTech. Then this plug here goes to this wiring harness I have in my hand here. This goes to your fan relay, your tack, and let's see, the coil and the key on. So not many wires to deal with on this side. So we're gonna go ahead and I think we're gonna run the fuel pump line through, or the fuel pump wire through the firewall where we ran the battery cable, run it back to the back of the car where the fuel pump is and dump it out underneath the car. So that'll be inside the car and safe. And then our power wire, we're just gonna run up here to our little power block. All right, so we have a few more things done. We went ahead and hooked up this second wiring harness and ran the line lock wire, one of the line lock wires, the fuel pump, and the tack wire from the FiTech into the cab through that grommet down there. We also went ahead and hooked up the hand controller wire, which is back here in the back of the unit, and then just run it up here with the factory harness. And then this is a hole from the AC unit that used to be on the car. Ran it right through here. We're gonna make a block off plate for that and then have a little grommet for the handheld to go into the cab. But the fuel pump wire ran, like I was saying, just with the power wire. So it's running right down the inside of the door. And then in the back here, we have a grommet that goes right underneath the car in the frame rail, so it's protected by the frame rail. And then we hooked that up to the fuel pump and then grounded the fuel pump. So fuel pump is completely wired, and the other wires, we're just trying to get them installed and see where they're gonna lay so we can make it as clean as possible. You know, a couple of these, like this wire goes to the coil, which is gonna have to go across to the other side of the engine. So just trying to figure out how to make this look nice and tidy. And this is for the fan. So that's gonna have to come down and back up to the front of the car where the fan relay is gonna be. But slowly making progress. We're gonna wrap it up for tonight, and I will see y'all later. All right, so it's been about a week since I worked on the wiring, but I did come out here last night, Friday night, did a couple little things. So right here, fan relay, mounted it, taped up the wires down there at the plug. I didn't buy a plug yet, and it's the male like slide-on fittings. So what I did, this is one, I made it a little too long, so this is just an example here. But I just get my little female connectors, clamp it on, put a small piece of heat shrink on the bottom, and then I got a bigger piece of heat shrink up top so that it just makes it, you know, to where it can't ground out or whatever. So that's how I connected that for now. And then also the distributor hooks into the FiTech, and let's see, right here you can see I've got it plugged in, and you've got a black plug and a white plug. So what I did is I bought some connectors from MSD, well, brand MSD. I cut off my factory connector, and the connector on the FiTech matched perfectly, so I just put the one on the distributor. What I was gonna do is, so that I don't have a black one and a white one, I was gonna try to take the pins out and put this connector on, but that looks good. So what I also bought this coil mount here, and I'm not sure if I want it there. I don't know. It's getting busy up here. A lot of stuff going on. So for now, it's just loosely there, and I have to still make my coil wire. So I'm not going to cut that until I decide if I want to put that, if I want to leave that coil there. So we're still going to keep that hanging out until we make a decision on that. But this stuff can just plug in and be raveled up until we decide to cut this wire shorter. Same thing with the coolant temp sensors I mentioned before. As far as wiring left to do, still have these 3 wires. The power wire for the FiTech is underneath the car, so I have those 4 wires: coil, fan, and key on. And this coil wire, this goes to the negative side, and I don't know where the power side has ended up. I can't find it. And based on the wiring diagram, there should be a dark blue coming out of the ballast resistor, but I can't. Those are both brown, it looks like, unless they just have gotten old. But I'm wondering, I thought this was the oil pressure sending unit, and this one was for the AC. So I'm not sure. If one of those are key on, I'd probably just use it. All right, so making pretty good progress. Just want to show you what I have so far. Up here at the fan relay, I have the trigger from the FiTech box wired up. Here's where the power wire goes for the main full-time power for the relay, and I have it wired up over here. I did forget to get relay or fuses this morning, so I had to go to the store again, get inline fuses for that, and also for the line lock right here. So here's my line lock power wire. I'm going to go ahead and put another inline fuse there, and then here's my switch, just a regular on-off switch. I think this is like a 20 amp, so that should be plenty. And everything's coming along nice. I went in and taped this section up with the friction tape. I found that I like the friction tape. It's pretty good stuff, so I'm going to use that to finish it up here. Once I get my fuse in, same back over here, clean it all up, wrap it with the tape. So I think that looks pretty good, so I'm just going to keep on with that. But yeah, making progress. See you guys back here in a minute. All right, so real quick, I did get the inline fuses done. and everything kind of wrapped up. This one kind of poked out, so I'm gonna have to get some tape or something and make him stay down. I don't want him poking out, but that looks good. And over here, the other inline fuse is in. I wrapped up this wire here. I still hadn't hooked up. I'm not ready to do that yet. I want to turn the key on the car and make sure I have the correct power on. I think it's going to be this kind of a yellow color one here that I'm going to splice it into or make a connection to, whatever. But yeah, so that one's still left to do. The white one's still left to do, and the coil one is still left to do. And the reason is, wherever it is, this black one here. And the reason is because, like I said, I don't know if I want that coil there. What I'm looking at is possibly doing an elbow right here, so like a 90 for this vacuum hose. And also something I just noticed is I think these might get burned by the O2 sensor, so I might have to reroute them on the other side and eventually get some new ends cut and tidy that back up again, because I don't think that's going to work right there. But anyway, just things to think about. And you know, I just want to get this video done and out for you guys, because I'm going to be back out here again tomorrow and just doing more stuff. So, you know, just trucking along. This thing is so close to being started. In fact, all the fluids I just bought today. So this thing is really close. I think tomorrow I'll probably go through again and just see if we can turn the key on after we figure out the coil and all. But if we can turn the key, check power and stuff, make sure things are getting power properly, the FiTech's kind of turning on properly and stuff like that, I think we'll be good to go for moving on to possibly a start. So anyways, I'm gonna leave it there for today. And something else that me and David were talking about the other day is doing a live, YouTube live. We've never done that before, so do YouTube live for the startup. I mean, there will be a regular video on top of that, but do a YouTube live. So maybe this week, do a test run, see if we can get the YouTube live working properly. And then once we're ready to start it, go ahead and do that live for you guys. So comment down below, hit the like button if you want to see that, so I know. But that's the idea for now. So let me know if you guys want to see that. But yeah, I'm gonna leave it right there. I'm gonna go edit for this. I'm gonna go edit this for you guys. And man, hope you guys are liking this. We're almost there. Just hang in there with me.